So not long ago, I tweeted on X something about the metagames, about the importance of playing metagames, saying something like, I don't even remember my own tweet exactly, but it went more or less like that. Play metagames, and then you will have a quadrillion of possibilities of games, and you don't need Willow, the new quantum chip of Google, installed in your head in order to play quadrillion games. And I think it's a very interesting idea because it's when you start knowing more about yourself and you apply metacognitive, you apply metacognition to yourself, you start seeing that it works like that actually. You can actually play quadrillion games within your head. But these games can be pedagogical and adapted to yourself. So this is why I insist on the importance of knowing yourself and how to integrate the way you learn in different ways. Let's say, for example, when you learn language, your mother tongue, you learned it because you were there, and now you are learning your languages because you're exposing yourself to them voluntarily, and this movement, if you do it strategically, then you can use it to learn more about the world in a different way. It might sound crazy, but you can use all your senses, and your interpretation needs to be wider. So if you do it like this, then you will find that you're not only learning a new language, but you're also learning to create a relationship with the information of the world that is completely different. That is something that only you can understand. Well, so far only you can understand, and it creates a metagame for you. So I encourage you to go through that path because if we're living in a world in which Willow exists, and GPT-4, 5, and all these new systems are coming to the world, if we live in a world like this, then you need to seriously consider the quadrillion possibilities within your head. So not everything is over, but you need to understand that you need to play different games. There are quadrillion games that are going to be played already by computers, so you need to play your own games. And language learning is one of those, one of the ways in which you can play those games. Start by reading not fake books like these ones. It's just a decoration I found in a cafe. But read genuine books, even though you're not understanding what you're reading. That's how I started, by the way, with French. I just started with a book by Sartre, and it was about philosophy, and the hook was there were many words coming from Latin, and the subject was kind of interesting. So that's what hooked me. But then I wasn't understanding the whole ideas of it. It was funny because in some way I understood that I was playing this meta game, and it allowed me to create some sort of structure that made sense once I started learning the grammar and the vocabulary and the syntax and so on. So it was my first exercise with French. The metagame I played with English, for example, was different. It was with video games. So dialogue in RPG games, movies, videos, and so on. For some reason, they started to create a structure within me that made no sense, but then started to make sense because I was hyper exposed to it and I was so interested in that topic that, well, it ended up making sense. In the quadrillion possibilities of learning, then it happened. So I encourage you to learn more, to expose yourself to the things you want to do. because that's the way your brain and your mind is going to create a meta path as well that you're going to build in the real world. And what I mean by real world is a real context, a context that makes sense for you and that makes sense for others, and then it leads you to learn the language. So if you apply this rule to everything you learn, actually it can be very interesting. Everything you do, your work, your activities, your relationships, play metagames, and then build your own systems in order to create something that is yours and that represents your vision of the world and that represents your ideas and your possibilities of creation. I say this because I want to encourage more people to find this, the value of this, because I would like to work with people like that. Actually, if I apply the concept of multilingual human agency in a way that I can share it with other people, I need people to understand this. But I know many people understand this. I'm not saying anything new. There's nothing new under the sun in this video, but I do believe that this message needs to be spread, because we have been hardwired to think that you learn this way, you have to do this that way. You have to understand yourself first. You have to understand the way you learn first. And then from there, you're going to create something new, but that makes sense with you. That makes sense to you and to the world. So think about that, and let me know in the comments if you have experienced this, if you like this idea, if you want to apply it, and if you have questions about it. And remember, nothing is perfect either. Perfection doesn't exist, so just go and do the right thing. Do the right thing, and with time it will make sense. It will make sense to you, and it will make sense for the rest of us. So I will leave it at that, and I take this opportunity to say that I have been posting on Instagram. It's been a cool experience. So go check it out. I'll try to on Instagram. I think there's the link somewhere in my socials. Yes. What did I want to say today? Well, nothing new. I will talk more about metagames and metacognition in the near future. When I read more about this, when I put in practice more illustrative examples, and I see more examples of other people. But I've been reading some interesting stuff about it, so I'll be creating more material. I mean, videos, but other texts and things like that in order to illustrate the whole thing. So remember to play metagames. Remember to wait for them to make sense, but to actively seek the sense of it. So that's what I want to say. Au revoir, and see you soon. Bye bye.